Now we continue with our developing and breaking story. Details surrounding the death of former Steinhoff CEO Markus Jooste are still very sketchy. The news comes after the Financial Sector Conduct Authority announced that it has fined Jooste almost R500 million for misrepresenting Steinhoff's financial statements that were published between the years 2014 to 2017. Now, the authority says Jooste earned millions of rand in performance bonuses based on deceptive statements, and his actions also destroyed billions of rand in Steinhoff market value, both on the JSE as well as Frankfurt. The FSCA says the Hawks are currently investigating Jooste, whom they accused of not cooperating with its probe. Rob Rose is the Financial Mail editor and joins us now live for more insight. Rob, a very good evening to you. Happy Human Rights Day. Look, I know you've written a lot and covered a lot on this Markus Jooste story. What do you understand about the latest developments in terms of Mr. Jooste's death?
Well, I was pretty much informed about 2 hours ago that this happened. It seemed to me quite incredible because I hadn't thought that this would be what would happen. I wouldn't have imagined that this is what he would have done. But having said that, I was equally alarmed when I was writing about Brett Kebble more than a decade ago, when he also organised his own suicide, and I found that equally startling. So that's pretty much what I know at the moment. Same as you, it's quite alarming.
Now, Rob, look, having written a great extent of articles around this issue, let's talk about the 475 million rand fine that was issued to Mr. Jooste. I mean, a lot of people were actually expecting a legal battle that was going to go all the way to the Constitutional Court.
Yes, well, I'm not sure about the Constitutional Court, but he certainly would have appealed it, I would have imagined, and taken this quite far. I think what would have changed the game for Markus Jooste was any intervention from the Hawks. And I think that might have been what would have potentially tipped the scales. But certainly the financial regulator, that 475 million rand fine yesterday, and it was a damning ruling. The regulator said that he'd intentionally lied. They described him as the mastermind of this fraud. It was exceptionally damning, and the FSCA themselves said that they were working with the Hawks. So you would have imagined that at some point things would have closed in on him.
And Rob, what do you understand in terms of the processes now, in terms of this 475 million rand? Can the groups that were affected or the victims still pursue, getting retribution as well as compensation in this regard? What is going to happen? Or the story just dies with Markus Jooste?
Well, certainly Steinhoff itself has managed to repay some of the money that it lost, that they lost. So there has been some sort of a settlement on that score, but that's come out of the company's coffers. In terms of personal accountability and who goes to jail for this fraud, I think that's something that the investigators, the Hawks, will now have to look at and reconsider, given what's happened here. Certainly, the public wants there to be some accountability for the largest fraud in the country, and I think that there should have been. I always believed that they would arrest Markus Jooste and he would face his day in court. I just didn't expect this to happen.
Talk to us at length about this investigation by the Hawks, Rob. What would you like to see as, a financial reporter?
Well, certainly the details of how it happened, why it happened, and who was looking the other way is important. I mean, which regulators, which board members, who are the people who allowed this to happen? Because that is important in understanding how it can't happen again. Individuals concerned, there'll always be another fraud in South Africa. There'll always be another, more people will get conned out of money. That's to be expected. But you want to close the gaps as much as possible and close the loopholes so that it doesn't happen again in this particular way. And I think that that's what you'd want to see out of this.
All right, Rob, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for contributing this evening. Remember, we are still tracking the story. And of course, as more details become available to us, we will certainly share with you. That was Mr. Rob Rose, Financial Mail editor there, talking to us.